what did the Beatles think of Queen? Queen and the Beatles are undoubtedly two of the most legendary bands of all time. Looking back, the peak of Beatles mania had passed just as Queen was starting out. So Queen took the torch and transformed popular rock music and reshaped the landscape of music history. Queen was always super unique, marching to the beat of their own drum, but together, both of these UK titans influenced each other strange ways over the years. In fact, the Beatles even looked up to Queen. Let's hear what the Beatles think of Queen. After John Lennon died, Paul McCartney became the de facto voice of the Beatles. So, what did this masterful vocalist, multi-instrumentalist, and songwriter think about Queen? The Freddie Mercury Club fan page on Instagram revealed an amazing interview with Paul McCartney, where he revealed his thoughts about Queen and Freddie, saying, "Freddie always had a good voice. That's always been the anchor of that group, I think. And Brian, a good guitar player as well. You know, they've had musical skill. I think you can tell when a band's got musical skill. But I think there's a say, the first thing you heard with Queen was Freddie's voice. And it's the same as it was then. It's a very strong voice, a very distinctive voice. And you recognize that this guy knows what he's doing." Paul's thoughts give us fans amazing insight into the admiration and inspiration shared between the greatest rock legends of all time. But the camaraderie between these bands goes much deeper. Freddie himself valued one of the Beatles' thoughts more than almost anyone else in the music world, and yet he was the one taken from this world too soon. Even though John didn't give his thoughts on Queen, Freddie and the crew gave their thoughts on John Lennon multiple times over Queen's career. It might surprise you to learn that John Lennon was Freddie's hero. Queen even covered Lennon's song Imagine live at Wembley in London on December 9, 1980, the day after John died. Freddie and company continued to play Imagine as a tribute to John for their next few years. Queen even wrote a tribute to Lennon called Life is Real, Song for Lennon, on their album Hot Space that came out in 1982. The song is cleverly inspired by John's writing style, with a light piano to start off the track that sounds like Starting Over or Beautiful Boy. The title is most likely a follow-up reference of two verses from two different John Lennon songs. The line, "Nothing is Real" from Strawberry Fields, and "Love is Real" from the song simply called Love. Hot Space also featured the song Put Out the Fire, which also references John's death with the lines, "They called him a hero in the land of the free, but he wouldn't shake my hand, boy. He disappointed me, so I got my handgun and I blew him away. That critter was a bad guy, and I had to make him pay." Freddie also opened up about his thoughts on the Beatles star, though he was hesitant to be compared to the man he called the greatest. Freddie said, "I would never like to put myself on any sort of parallel with John Lennon at all, because he was just the greatest, as far as I'm concerned. It's not a matter of less talent or more talent. It's just that certain people are more capable of doing certain things than somebody else. And I just feel that I'm not equipped to do certain things that John Lennon did. And I don't think that anybody should. Because John Lennon was unique and a one-off, and that's how it is. I admire John Lennon very much." And in the book, Freddie Mercury, A Life in His Own Words, the phenomenal game-changing vocalist himself said, "John Lennon was larger than life and an absolute genius. Even at a very early stage when they were the Beatles, I always preferred John Lennon's things. That's some incredibly high praise from one of undoubtedly one of the best vocalists, performers, and music icons of all time." John Lennon was sadly never photographed with any of the members of Queen, and worse than that, it seems like John never even met Queen in person or on the phone. While John had a growing rift with his own band, he wasn't feuding with Queen at all. It was mostly just timing. By the time Queen was taking off in popularity, John had moved to the US to take care of his son Sean, and subsequently laid low from the public, a move the introverted Brian May would later follow. Freddie wasn't the only one who loved the Beatles. Brian May was also a huge fan of George Harrison. That might come as a surprise, since George isn't known for wicked solos, but he's known as the guitarist for guitarists. His technical ability and nuance is widely appreciated by shredders and jazz guitarists alike. In a tweet, Brian said his favorite Harrison song was My Guitar Gently Weeps because it takes courage to be gentle. Clearly, a sentiment echoed in Queen's own music, with their operatic style shifting from grandiose and loud to subdued and soft. In 1992, George and Brian May met up at a charity event at the Water Rats Ball. While the Beatles had lots of thoughts to share about Queen, this time, Brian May gave his thoughts on the masterful Beatles guitarist, saying, "I've been thinking about George a lot recently, and I really wish him well. And just before you came, I was thinking about how the press treated Freddie when he was ill. You know, he literally couldn't step outside his door for photographers. They were even trying to get in the windows, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. You have no protection." Later, May said, "But I've only met George once. We played together at a Water Rats do, when Bert Whedon was King Rat. There was George, Joe Brown, Bert, and me. What a precious moment. I had a blinding migraine, but the moment overcame the pain. I wish I'd had the balls to say what I really wanted to at the time. I told George in such reverence, and I think he's so underrated by the guitar community. Everyone raves about people who play fast, but if you look at the catalog of stuff he's produced, it's colossal." In the photo, George was playing a Brian May Red Special signature guitar, and it might have even been May's original on loan for the gig. This was the first and only time the two met since George passed away in the early 2000s. The two legendary bands had deep admiration for each other and even took musical cues in style and lyrics. But Brian May said Queen was able to do one thing that the Beatles couldn't. While the Beatles split up, Queen held strong together. Life in the music biz wasn't always smooth sailing for Queen. They would frequently fight, but May said their disagreements made the band stronger and helped their creative process. While the Beatles split up, Queen came together like a real family. May had this to say about Queen's incredible success and amazing music, with long days, hammering out new pieces of action and interaction between us, the performers, and the massive and highly sophisticated beast which is our touring rig. Sound, lights, staging, moving parts, video content, magic tricks, monitoring, costumes, and music. I was pondering today that it's such a shame that the wonderful Beatles never got the chance to indulge themselves and their fans in such a fantasy. Touring life became uncontrollable for them after only a few years of massive fame. For us, we've had 40 years or more to develop and continuously innovate, and the technical and artistic team we have around us is at the very top level. Hearing Queen and the Beatles share their thoughts about each other gives us all rare insight into the inspiration behind two of rock's greatest bands. What do you think? Is Freddie's praise of Lennon deserved? Can you imagine what a Queen and Beatles collab would have sounded like? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, then click the like button. It helps out a lot, and subscribe to the channel to catch the next video. And thanks for watching.